Good morning from beautiful Lake Elmo, Washington County Fairgrounds. This is Fiskur Joe. Today is Friday, and tomorrow on Saturday morning I'm going to be teaching a Handbound Journal class at the festival. It's the Shepherd's Harvest Festival held every year here. And one of the hardest parts of Handbound Journal is the stitching of the pages onto the leather cover. So what I've tried to do is made a board here that will show the 36 holes. We have 6 rows of holes and we have 6 vertical lines, and we're going to have 6 signature pages that we're going to stitch. So this is the top and this is the bottom. This is the inside of the cover and this is the outside of the cover. You can see a little bit of orange yarn. The first time I tried it was with yarn and it wasn't a very good plan. So we're going with something else, some lime green thread here. I've already put a knot in the end. So when you take your length of cord, you're going to use about 48 to 50 inches of cord, and you're going to attach the needle on one end, and on the other end you're going to make a knot to hold it. I have directions on how to lock that needle on the thread. That will be part of the class. But right now we're going to simulate stitching 6 pages, 6 signatures. Each signature has 6 pages. How to stitch it onto that cover. That's what I'm about to do. I've already made the first stitch because that's a little bit challenging. On the leather cover, you come around from that first hole that you come into, and you come around the second and you come back inside that first hole. So I tried to simulate that here. So now I'm ready to go. I've got my knot, and just a second here. I think this should come out and come in through the second hole, because there's a certain design that we're going to look for. And here's a finished journal. This is the design. So I guess I had it right. It's one of those things when you haven't done it enough. I'm going to go in that hole again and pull it. Make sure it stays right on that extra leather flap that I added there. Every time you put a stitch in, you want to make sure that you pull it taut. So now we're going to go into the second hole on that same first vertical line, pull it taut. Then on the back side, we're going to go down to the third hole, pull it taut, fourth hole, and this will produce the general overall pattern for all 6 signatures. Now, you could YouTube, do a search for Handbound Journal or something. You might find other ways of doing stitching that's a little bit more decorative, just as functional. But quite honestly, I found this one and I've stuck with it. I'm gonna get rid of some of these orange yarn fibers. Okay, so now down at the very bottom, we're going to go over to the second vertical, going in from the back and coming in. So when we did the first one up here, we went into the top left hole of the page, the signature page. Now we're coming in, we're adding a second signature here, and we're going to come in from the back side to the bottom. You always make sure that your orientation on your signatures, you know which ones are on the top. And so you're going to add the second signature here, put the needle and the thread through it. You've already poked holes in the paper, and now we just keep right on stitching. Remember, pull it taut. You don't want to wind up with something very loose at the end. And I'm just going to keep right on going here. And you can see how that pattern is emerging. And now we move over to the third vertical hole. And we add the third signature top hole, come in from the folded side, down through this hole. So we've got two signatures stitched. We're adding the third signature. And when we're in the class, we'll go as fast as the slowest person, because this is the most important part and it's a challenge. Now when we get here at the very bottom, you'll see there's a gap because of how we've been doing the stitching. So I fill that gap by going back in here and then come back to this other page. And when you're doing it with signatures and leather, you're going to kind of slide in behind the page and get it back in. Now we're going to add our fourth
signature.
This is the bottom. We're on the bottom. We're going to add the fourth one. Come in through the inside, out the bottom. This is the inside cover. So then now we keep going into the next hole right above it. We're in the fourth vertical line now. And I may not have added enough, pulled out enough string. It looks like I may be running out. I'm not going to have enough to go back and forth. So we're way up at the top here. There's a big gap here. So I'm going to go over there and come back in here. And then we continue with the fifth one. And as you can see, I'm going to run out. I didn't do enough. Because the board is so much thicker than the journal, I thought I pulled off enough thread and I did not. So sorry about that. But basically that's what's going to happen. You're going to keep stitching on the same pattern. And if you notice here, this is the top. So I've got it solid with stitches. Same way with the bottom, it's solid with stitches. And you're going to keep doing that all the way over to the last one. And the last one you're going to wind up and you're going to tie off a knot by looping it and tying it tight for the last stitch. So your very first stitch you have a knot. Actually on these I started at the bottom. I usually start at the top now, but these are a little older. So there's, wherever you start, if you start at the bottom here, you'll finish on the bottom. If I start at the top, I'll finish at the top. But you tie a tight knot to hold it, and that will be your stitched handbound journal. So if you have any questions, you get in touch with me. I hope this helps. I really apologize I didn't add enough thread to my